Measuring autistic burnout on my wrist. A lot of us struggle with autistic burnout and how to manage that. And so in this video, I'm going to share how I've been managing it recently, including using some new biodata, which is very fun. Hi everyone, Paul Micallef here from Autism from the Inside. I make weekly videos sharing the human side of autism, so make sure you hit subscribe to get the latest content. So I've made a number of videos on autistic burnout over the years. It's something that I've struggled with kind of continually over the course of my life, but especially recently trying to carve out a life for myself slightly outside the norm. So when I was an engineer, I just had someone else telling me what to do, and I could just go to work and I would slowly get more and more tired and more tired, and there was nothing really I could do about it. Whereas recently, my life is a little bit more flexible. I'm attempting to design it so that it actually works for me and I feel okay most of the time. That's kind of the plan. And a big part of that is figuring out how to manage this whole burnout thing. So what's been really interesting recently is I'm getting some data from this device on my wrist, which I'll tell you about in a minute, that is helping me a little bit to better understand and better notice what's happening in my body. So I've always known that I take a long time to kind of reset. One day is not enough for my brain to reset. For it to sort of slowly unwind and then get to a relaxation state and then have some real rest and then be ready to go again, it takes a significant amount of time. So when I'm starting to feel burnt out, as I already am, even though it's only very early on in the year, I've tried things like taking a couple of extra days off. So it's Monday morning for me at the moment, and I'm feeling more or less pretty good, but that's because I took most of Thursday and Friday off, doing as minimum, like I treated it like a sick day. Like if I had the flu or if I had COVID or something and I knew I was sick in bed, I was just going to lie on the couch and sleep all day. What's the minimum that I have to do today? Right. And a lot of the time the minimum is, I guess I have to call up work and tell them that I'm not coming in. Something like that, right? So what's the minimum that I can do to try and rest so that when it gets to Monday morning, I'm actually okay again? One of the key burnout indicators for me is when I get to Monday morning and it feels like, you know, that feeling when you get to Friday afternoon and you're just completely at the end of your week's worth of energy and like, I just can't wait for the weekend. This is basically, I'm done. I'm just staring at my screen. I'm not going to get any more productive work done this week. Well, when I have that feeling at 10 a.m. on a Monday morning, I know something's wrong. That's a bit of my experience. And my new addition to that recently has been this little biosensor here. And basically what it is it measures my heart rate 24/7, essentially. So there's a whole bunch of fancy software around that helps measure activity and sleep and heart rate variability and various other kind of metrics, but essentially what it's trying to do is measure my activity level through the day. How active have I been based on my heart rate, and then measure my sleep at night, and it analyzes like different types of sleep and how long I've actually been asleep for and how rejuvenating that has been. So it's been really interesting because every morning it gives me a recovery score, and this was intended to be for athletes, for if you've had a really tough training day and then you rest and then you wake up the next morning, how ready is your body to go again, right? That's kind of what the recovery score is supposed to be based on your heart rate variability. And these past couple of weeks, what I've noticed is that I just don't recover. I feel really tired. I go to bed. I have a really good night's sleep, or at least as much sleep as I can manage. And then I wake up the next morning and I haven't recovered. And it's been fascinating to feel what that's like in my body, and also to pick up my phone and say, oh, it's actually telling me that. It's actually measuring the physiology of my body, and it is correlating with my felt experience of not having recovered very well today. I clearly need more rest or need more something because I'm not ready to go again. And one of the reasons that that's been really interesting is because I constantly question myself around how I feel. There's so many shoulds in my brain. Like, it's only Monday. I should feel okay. I've only worked 2 days this week. I should feel okay. Or I got 10 hours of solid sleep last night. How am I not feeling better today? Whereas if I forget about the shoulds and I simply look at how I feel, then sometimes it's really clear that for whatever reason, even if I don't understand the reason, I actually need to take it a bit easy today. And I'm the kind of person who will go through with my commitments, even if they're not very strong commitments. I'm thinking of things like going to the gym. Oh, I said I would go to the gym today, so I will go to the gym today. I just do it because I told myself that I would on a whim. And seeing the data means that when I don't feel like it and I'm thinking, should I go to the gym? Actually, I feel really tired. Maybe I should rest instead. And then I look at the data on my phone, and suddenly it gives me the permission almost to listen to how my body feels right now, rather than just constantly doing the thing that I think I'm supposed to be doing. I've spoken about this in other videos as well. I feel like I don't really have a red line. Like I just keep pushing and pushing and pushing until I completely overstrain everything. So one of the biggest challenges for me has been to try to limit myself and stop working, stop going to the gym, stop pushing myself before I break myself, rather than waiting until something breaks and then saying, oh, well, now I'm sick, or now I have an injury, or now I'm completely fried and can't do anything. I've heard a lot from others in the community as well that it can be really hard to feel what we're just to get an accurate sense of how you're feeling right now in terms of energy. And there's a couple of reasons for that, a couple of possible reasons for that. It could be something like a hyposensitivity to interoception and to feeling my body. Maybe you just can't, you're just not very sensitive feeling what's actually physically happening in your body. So that can lead to alexithymia sometimes, where it's just like, I'm just not sure how I'm feeling. Some of the other reasons are that if you have felt a certain way for a long time, it feels normal. So if I have been tired for a long time, for months, if I've been tired for months and have not recovered properly for months, then that feels normal. And I'm going to wake up and say, well, I feel normal today. I'm not going to wake up and say, well, I feel really tired and I'm not recovered properly today, because it's just the normal thing to do. So part of checking in with myself is trying to go back to baseline. Well, what is it? Trying to remember what it feels like to actually feel good. To wake up in the morning and say, I'm ready to go today. I can get out of bed today. I want to go and do stuff today. I have the energy to get up and face the world. today. Because if I haven't had that for a long time, I slowly stop expecting to feel that way. There's a couple of other things that have been really fun with this. That you can track your habits as well, like alcohol or caffeine or other things like that. Time with friends, screen time in bed. There's a whole list of things you can track. And then it, over the course of a month or so, it correlates that with how well you're recovering. And then it shows you which things are helping you to recover and which things are not helping you to recover. And by far the biggest thing that hinders my recovery is alcohol. Like even one glass of alcohol, and I can see and feel the difference the next morning, how ready to face the world I am the next morning after even one drink. So that's been interesting because I kind of knew that in my head previously. I kind of knew, when I have a drink, it's sort of fun for half an hour and then I just feel lethargic and get a headache and it's not really very fun anymore. And then I probably don't sleep as well and all of these other things. But to actually see it in the data is really, fun for me at least. I really like having data. This has been fun. I am planning on taking 4 months off this year because I know that I still haven't properly recovered from the last couple of years, to be honest. And now I'm actually seeing it in the data as well, which is fun. I'm really curious to take this on the Camino de Santiago and see, just because I really like data, like I'm going to be walking, 30 kilometers a day and sleeping on a different random bed in a little hostel every night. And I'm curious as to how my body is going to do that. I haven't done that for 10 years. Is it going to be easy? Like last time it was fairly physically easy for me. I like walking. I do a lot of walking already. So the walking wasn't the hard part. The hard part was the mentally and emotionally and spiritually, like the challenge of doing that. Just doing nothing but walking for 30 days was a challenge. So that's exciting. I'm just trying to let people know so that when I take 4 months off, it's not a huge surprise. If you'd like to hear the latest updates with that, make sure you join our Patreon community. You can do that for as little as $1 a week. So hopefully that's not too much of a financial barrier. If you're really interested, this one is called Whoop. No, this video is not sponsored in any way. If you're interested in the data side of it, I highly recommend a YouTube channel called The Quantified Scientist. I found his videos extremely helpful when I was researching sort of what did I want when tracking my sleep. I went with one that was pretty high end, also arguably overpriced, but I thought, look, it's a fantastic, exciting experiment. So better leave it there, I think. But thanks for watching. I hope you've enjoyed this video, and good luck managing your own burnout. And if you've had any experience with tracking your own biodata, then let me know in the comments. That would be really interesting to hear as well. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you next week. Bye.